It's about Robert Browning's famous poem, Porphiria's Lover. In fact, this is perhaps the second best known poem by Robert Browning. Browning himself was enormously popular in the late 19th century. There were whole societies, clubs set up called Browning societies, and the purpose of these was to get together and read aloud the work of Robert Browning. This is just ordinary middle-class folk, because his poems had such a powerful hold on their imaginations. Now, earlier in his career, Robert Browning was more popularly referred to as Mrs. Browning's husband, because his wife, the famous Elizabeth Barrett Browning, was so well known for her own poem, Sonnets of the Portuguese. How do I love thee, let me count the ways, is the best known line of Mrs. Browning's, and one of the best known lines in all of English literature. It wasn't until the 1860s when Browning's own very dark and psychologically based poems caught hold of the popular imagination. And when they did, they far surpassed those of his more romantically inclined wife. The poem begins easily enough and simply enough, almost like some weather report. The rain set early in tonight, the sullen wind was soon awake. It tore the elm trees down for spite, and did its worst to vex the lake. But we realize that this is like no weather report we've ever heard. It's like the weather report, but it's not like the weatherman saying, well, tonight the rain tore the elm trees down for spite and did its worst to vex the lake. Now for sports, Larry. No, this is the weather as delivered by some disturbed mind, waiting for a woman named Porphiria to enter out of the storm. And she does glide in, and closes the door, closes out the storm, stirs up the fire, cheerily greets him, but he doesn't respond to her. And she sits down, she takes his arm, puts it around her, but still she gets no response from him. But as she kneels down in front of him, and he's looking into her blue eyes, he realizes that in that moment, at least, she loves him and only him, and he realizes what he must do about it. He says, I found a thing to do. And what he does is he takes that yellow hair of hers, that long, perfectly pure and gold hair, and winds it 3 times around her throat like a yellow string. I strangled her, he says. He waits, then he unwraps the coil of hair with which he has strangled Porphiria, and the blood comes back into her cheek. She looks almost as though she's blushing, and he opens her eyes, and there are still those blue eyes, and he sits her down beside him, and they stay there. They stay there, sitting all night long, her now lifeless head propped against him, and he says that no one, not even God, has said a word. And it's those last 2 lines, that not even God has said a word, that bring in the particularly Victorian element of the poem, a time when the first great wave of religious doubt was being felt, and the effects of the industrial world and Darwin and all of that. But still, the doubt that God is going to interfere in the world or say anything about this murder is put into the voice of one of Browning's several madmen. He employs this madman persona, much like Edgar Allan Poe was doing at the same time over in America, in a number of his poems, most notably A Soliloquy in the Spanish Cloister and My Last Duchess, in which an emissary to a very powerful duke goes to find out about the wedding chances of the woman that he represents, and finds the Duke is pointing to a portrait of his first Duchess, who he had murdered because she didn't focus her attention solely on him. So Browning, the husband of this extremely romantic and well-known poet, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, certainly had a dark side.